Plarium, please. Episode 2. Welcome everyone. Madman bringing another RSL video. So today I want to work on something else to benefit players, or at least keep their interest, right? So here's what happened. It's Thursday. We just finished the Jetney Fusion Monday, and Bovie, as I'm calling her, short for bovine, because she's a cow, is up and due next Thursday. So 10 days in between, and we're already got on another fusion. Well, to me, and probably to a lot of y'all, that format has gone stale, right? We're just tired of fusions after fusion after fusions. Now, luckily these last two have not been anything of excitement, so fairly easy skip, for me anyway. Maybe not for you. And, we move on, right? We do whatever else. We want to improve in other areas. Like, during the Jetney Fusion, for the first time, I finally beat Doom Tower Hard rotation for the first time ever on this account. So, that's what I concentrated on. The gearing, the champs, to finish that and get through that. So, that's what I concentrated on instead of doing the Fusion. But I want to see some more community challenges sponsored by Plarium. Let's bring the community in together and have a little friendly competition. So, my first idea, and the groundwork has already been laid by the bigger CCs. HH started his free-to-play challenge among CCs, and, that doesn't really apply here, but did with Jedi, just, he hosted it and set it all up, and the bigger CCs just had the Hydra challenge. He's also done it with Clan Boss, and this is something that Plarium could just damn copy, because the road work has been laid. So, in Hydra, right? Simple. The farthest you've gotten in Hydra, that's the level you got to compete in. So, now with the exception, maybe, is you have to have had top chested it. Like for me, right, in Brutal I can get Warrior chest, but I have not, or the base chest. I haven't got to the second one. I sure as heck haven't one keyed all of it. And it would have to be a determination on Plarium, up to for them to decide, I guess. Or maybe you can put your input in later on in the comments or something. Do you go with the best score from one key or from all three keys, in the competition? So I would say one key would be my vote. That way you still can get the, top chest from the tiers below, but that's just my personal opinion. But they might say if you've reached Brutal, you got to compete in Brutal. So, who knows? But I don't think it's real fair if you can barely scratch Brutal, that you need to be sitting there forced to do it when you can't even one key it. But you don't want anybody who can sit there and put up 100 million in Nightmare competing in Brutal or Hard, because they're just going to wipe out the competition, and that's not really fair, and wouldn't be reasonable. But let's do the challenge. Hydra is 4 weeks each rotation, right? So there's a month in between, and that way we're only doing these fusions every other month. Heck, you might even go just one every 3 months. But let's I'm not saying don't do them, because that's the format. That's the way they're going to go with it. I know it. You should know it. That's plain and simple. But you don't have to introduce these new champions so fast and furious, and let us do some community competition like that, because it was fun watching them compete. And you're learning it and you're figuring it out. Wow. And how does that benefit Plarium? Well, you're going to sit there and you're going to try and figure out what comp might work best, which means you're going to be going through a bunch of champs. You're going to sit there and you're going to be re-gearing them. You might be running Iron Twins to try and get the best blessings. You're going to probably be running through Sand Devil to get the best ascensions on your gear. You're going to be burning up your books to max out their skills. You're going to be running Minotaur to get them all their masteries. You're going to be running through the potion keeps to get them ascended so you can put full set of gear on them. You're going to be leveling them up. You're going to be burning through resources, which generally tends to mean either you're going to have less resources for doing the fusions if you stick with free to play, or, you know, those who are going to spend, and you might spend a little more than normal, right? But an easy to skip fusion, like, Bovie there, well, they're not going to burn through much resources. In fact, they might say, well, I'll burn through the daily stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to save the rest of it up. And you can see here, look, I'm at 4,688, gems here. This free-to-play account. I didn't do the Jetney Fusion. But anyway, that's how this competition could sit there and go. And since this 4-week rotation, you can break it down. Maybe the top 5 of each bracket move along, and Plarium have to decide how big those brackets are going to be. Are there 500 participants? Is there 100 participants? How many brackets are going to mesh into whatever level until you get the top 4 or 10 brackets or whatever, and so many people compete, right? Like, say there's a total of 10 top tier brackets after the first 3 weeks, and 5 people of each get to move on to the final round, and you got 50 participants total at the end there. And the rewards don't have to be super great, but it'd be nice to give some rewards for, like, first through third, first through fifth, first through 10th place or whatever each time a bracket challenge goes. And of course you'd get lesser stuff like 50k in coin, or a pot or 2 of energy. Maybe you get 10, 20, 25 gems, depending on where you fall. You might get an ancient shard or a rare tome or something, for the first round. And, at the end you might sit there and get 2 or 3 sacred shards, or 2 or 3 legendary tomes. It won't cost Plarium much. I mean, it's all digital stuff, so, but the amount of resources spent versus what you're going to give out are going to be small. But for us, we get to compete against each other, but not in PvP, but in PvE. You're bringing the community together. It's good for us. It's good for you. So that's one way you could sit there and fill in a month easily. And, with 4 rotations, you could do that for 4 months, but you're not going to do 4 months in a row. So, it'd be every other one, then you'd have to kind of skip or whatnot. Another one, though, again, Clan Boss. You can have a competition. The furthest you've gone, boom, you go. Now, Clan Boss, you'd have to divide probably up into 3 categories. Your killable, your unkillable, or your Infinity Shield type comps. That way it's, more fair, because anybody with an Infinity Shield type comp is going to blow away the competition. And, it'll just, that won't sit well. But you could do the same thing here on Clan Boss. You could do the same thing here over in Doom Tower, right? If you completed Doom Tower hard, then you got to complete on the Doom Tower hard side. If you've only done normal, you've done normal, and you could have, say, 3 brackets, right? First bracket might be, I want to be in the as far as I can climb bracket, because maybe you haven't actually finished Doom Tower, right? Or I want to be in the fastest overall time, so all the floors added up, how much time did it take me to do it? That might be a bracket. Or the least amount of turns might be a bracket. But you could sit there and have a community-wide Doom Tower competition, right? With a few extra little resources along the way. I mean, you're given all these resources anyway through doing Doom Tower. What's a few little more there? It's not going to make or break, again, Plarium. But there's 3 areas of the game. You could sit there and switch it up. You could do almost the same thing here, though, in dungeons, too. The first week might be Spider, and then Dragon, then Ice Golem. And then, the last week is Fire Knight. And you can have a week-long competition for a month between each, right? And, they could choose whether they want to do normal or they want to do hard. And again, it might be, on this one, it would probably be fastest time. Or, it could be highest level achieved, right? Plarium, you guys can decide what bracket or whatever, but you could have a competition amongst these 4 areas. If you wanted to, you could even throw in Sand Devil or Iron Twins. Minotaur and the potion keeps, probably not going to be that enjoyable, but seeing other comps and all of that would be definitely interesting. And again, community-wide challenge, right? Not just a handful of people. It's a community-wide challenge. You throw out a little resources as rewards, but the amount of resources burn up is going to be way more, which means more likely that we're going to spend some money. But there you go. There are a few ideas of filling in between instead of having so many fusions back to back to back to back to back. Let's get the community involved in more. A little more excitement, hey, I want to participate in this challenge. I'm willing to spend the resources to try, that's all you can do is sit there and try. And, hey, if I win, I win. Maybe I only win the first bracket, but I get a few little resources. Maybe I win it all and I get some bragging rights. Like, hey, I was the first one to win, the fastest Fire Knight run. So, Spider might be a little more difficult, but the other three, it could get hairy in there as to how fast, because most people can, do like Spider 25 in like, 6 seconds, 8 seconds, and that's the fastest you're ever going to get. But anyway, there are a few ideas there that you have competitions. I mean, there's 4 months right there that you could sit there and cover out of the year. So now you're only doing eight fusions instead of 12 or more, and you're giving us something different to do. So if you like any of these ideas, go ahead, give me a thumbs up, hit that like. Don't be afraid to hit the subscribe if you want to subscribe. Please leave a comment, good, bad, indifferent, or what you might change, any other ideas you might have. But, I'm trying to get a little awareness. Hopefully either a bigger CC sees some of this, or even Plarium, heaven forbid, actually see this, and we get a little changes made to spice things up a little bit and keep the game fun and interesting. But that is my ideas for episode 2 of Plarium Please. Have a nice day.